the Dance is a Birthright project to be named shortly. I think something exciting is that there isn't a name for the show right now, and I anticipate that from these discussions, we'll find a really fitting theme. So, as we open this episode, I'd like for all of us to go around and introduce ourselves and then express maybe what called you to being here today or your history with dance so that everyone can get acquainted with one another. So, we'll go this way.
Hi, I'm Deja. I'm here today thanks to Jules. Um, I had never danced before in my life before I met her, and I see the ways that dancing as an expression can be so beautiful to build community and to just like it shapes who she is as a person. And I think that has been really cool for me to first admire and to also just learn from. I think dance is really beautiful in the ways that it connects all communities and cultures um, and humans just as a form of expression. And yeah, so since knowing her, I've slowly but surely learned how to get more in touch with my body and movement, something that has been like so sterile to me and rigid. I like extreme sports, skateboarding, judo, so the softness and the connection to the femininity inside of me has been like a beautiful process. And yeah, really cool to see what she does for the community and inspires me truly.
Hey guys, I'm Ayana or Yana, and I've been dancing my whole life, honestly. I've done all different types of genres. I've done African dancing, I've done really just a little bit of everything. And so I feel like, I don't know, it just really excites me. It makes me feel like a kid again when I'm out dancing, and it's just, it's just a part of who I am. I'm a very giddy person, and that just, it just makes me happy.
Hi, my name is Perla. So I have been dancing pretty much my whole life in the kitchen with my mom. So I can never really teach you. I could, I'm lying. I could probably teach you, but I don't want to because I just, to me, dance is just a fluid movement. And I come here actually after years, sorry, of a pretty abusive relationship. Dance is kind of used as a level up, meet me here, and then we can go dancing. And then we can do this, and then we can do that. So it kind of killed the whole vibe for me. And I actually lost a lot of friends, women, men. It's very cliquish for me. So I did not have a good relationship with dance the last 12 years. It made me a completely different woman and actually a very bitter woman, pretty resentful. So coming back, it was actually the divine timing too, because I used to always jump in Jules's DMs like, when are you going to teach? When are you going to teach? Like, I already knew what she was about since the day I met her as a kid. Um, so for me, this is just really a full circle moment of what dance does and how it really can spark that fire. I went out this year for the first time in 12 years by myself with the supportive friends that I met in the dance community, dancing. And finally, I performed in heels. If you guys have never done it, it's very sensual. I've never done it. And I'm a totally different chick on stage. I can't say, but filthy. So, but I love it. And I'm going to enjoy all this experience and just take my voice back on every level to include immigration, first gen here. And I'm not going quietly. So, yeah, so full circle moment for me in dance and bringing that life back.
Hi, I'm Tanya. Dancing has always been so healing for me. I started off as a kid just dancing for fun with my friends and family. I'm half Ukrainian and half Peruvian, so it also brought me to my roots. I saw my Dido doing polka, and then my Latin Peruvian side doing cumbia and salsa, and so I've always been drawn to it. But I didn't get into dance really until I was an adult. I was a swimmer. So I always did competitive swimming, but I always loved dancing. But my parents couldn't afford to put me in anything else besides swimming because they had 3 of us and they put us all in the same sport and like, that's what you're doing. So that's what it started off with. But when I had my first kid, I went into what I would call baby blues. I gave up my career to support my husband, and I was really down. And I can honestly say that dancing saved me. It's a natural medicine, and I think everybody should do it along with yoga. It's just a beautiful thing. And right now, with everything that's going on with the government and how people how this our current administration is putting everyone against each other, I think we need it more than ever. So this I'm just so happy to be here and share my stories and how it's healed me and how it's healed you. And thank you, Jules, for bringing this. So that's it.
Hey everybody, I'm Kristen. I kind of just by chance discovered dance one day when someone invited me to come watch somebody dance, and it's really brought together a really nice community. I was very isolated for a long time, so I just love everybody that I've met, and and I so resonate with that. I grew up in a mixed family. They spoke Spanish, but they didn't want anyone else to say it. So it's been really nice to actually learn about that part of my past as well. So I've really just enjoyed meeting everybody, and I love dance, and my body just feels it's mine again. So I like it.
Hi, I'm Tamara. I've danced all but like 4 years of my life. So from like middle school and high school, thanks to being in a public fine art school, I had access to dance classes like every day. But when I was in my late 20s, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And like you have to lose weight, get active, and I wasn't as active as I was before. But like I thought some advice that said that if you want to be healthy and get your life together and have a habit that will stick around, is to go back to what you liked in your childhood. And I remembered going to a bat mitzvah when I was a teen, and the guest of honor was belly dancing. So that exposed that art form, that it's for everyone and not just like some sexy part of a movie or something like that. And so I started belly dancing, and that led to, once I moved to Colorado, finding the nearest studio. And through the studio, I've made so many friends. Many of them are here. And Jules A, had posted about these classes here in Moyo on her Instagram stories, and it's like, yeah, I gotta take that. So being here, this is a place I like being. I love the community. I love the diversity here. It's sometimes you don't get that in belly dance and other studios and art forms. Like I also do salsa, Persian. I've done hula, and also hip hop. So this is just a really great community, and yeah, this is where I like being.
Hi, my name's Alicia. I'm a DJ, and I grew up. What made me grow up is being a part of hip hop. Pretty basically, I started as a B girl, and I really pulled from being a B girl, like how to be in my body, and it helped. Dance helps me know that it's just like me and the floor. You can't cheat because I loved that experience so much, and it helped me define me. And it kind of took me to being a DJ, and an integral part of DJing is interacting with the audience, and I like nothing more than a full dance floor with people dancing, like dancing, and me being the architect of that situation. Like I love nothing more than that. So like dance is so important, so important.
I'm Lexi, and my relationship with dance came naturally to me as a child. My mom danced. Um, I also have Native American heritage, and there's a lot of repression that comes with that. Um, so this has been a great opportunity in this space to connect spiritually to dance, as well as communally.
Um, but yeah, I didn't really have the resources or accessibility to take dance classes, although I wanted to as a kid. But I think this is a great space to dance not so structurally and to just dance intuitively, because that's what I grew up thinking dance was just structure and classes. And I honestly didn't know what it was because I didn't have the access to it. But this has been a great experience and I've learned lots.
Hi, my name is Francesca, and my cousin Lexi introduced me to this class, but I keep coming back because it is really community based. You can tell right when you walk in how welcoming everybody is. Everybody has a smile on their face. Everybody could dance without judgment or without fear, which is very nice because I feel like there's a lot of that on the outside world. Um, Dance was a outlet for me as a kid. I did it with my aunt. That was so fun for me. I come from a very abusive and neglected home, so when I joined dancing and cheerleading, it was very routine and very strict, but it felt so good. And here it is more of just to embrace yourself and embrace it and do what comes naturally. And Jules has been such a great teacher of embracing how it can be healing and how it can be an outlet for everybody. And I see how it makes a difference on everybody here. And I think it's very impactful. And I'm glad that Sheba does this for us so that way we can enjoy this and have a good outlet. And I hope that we can pass this to our next generation.
Hi, my name is Anderson. I was born in Venezuela, and I didn't realize until I listened to all of you how fortunate I am to have been born in a family where dancing was always a part of our life. You know, we were always dancing. There was always an opportunity, and there was always a reason for that. You know, to dance. And like Tanya, I was also a swimmer for many years, and I was very focused on that. But once I moved to the U.S., I started dancing in groups at school, and just going dancing with my friends, every weekend because I left my family, so I needed to have that kind of connection again. So I started dancing, and it was what really kept me going dancing. And then I don't know, life has really changed, and I kind of forgot about dancing until now. And it's very simple, but Julia invited me last weekend to go dancing, and I was like, sure, I'll go, and I was there dancing by myself, well, with her, but on my own, because we're just like, and it was just great. It was wonderful, and I reconnected with that again, and it was like, yeah, this is exactly what I need right now in my life. I had no idea what I was coming here to do, but I'm so glad that I'm part of this, and thank you, Julia, for making me part of it. Appreciate it. Yeah.
My name is Yvonne. I'm Julia's mom, and dance was a big part of my life as well. As I was listening to the ladies and gentlemen speak, I remembered that when Jules was about 2 weeks old, and this isn't about Jules, it's about the dance continued because I had said earlier that I had kind of given it up. But after nursing each one of my babies, I would be standing up, music would be playing, and I would be moving like they are going to understand rhythm. And she, out of all of them, became so alert to this music and humming and movement. And so that was kind of the genesis. Anyway, I think, as I've mentioned, the perfectionism has kind of held me back, and I'd like to shed that. And I'm so grateful for all these people's stories and encouragement. And Shiva, thanks for providing the space and your mentorship to Julia as well.
Hi, my name's Diana. I perform Persian dance around town. I'm in a performing company. I was thinking a lot as everyone was talking about kind of like reclaiming dance from our cultures and not just classes where you have to get a figure eight right or anything like that. And growing up, so I was born in Jordan, but I grew up here. I'm very Western. Um, but my dad stayed back in Jordan. And so every summer growing up, I would spend 2 to 3 months in Jordan. And I didn't know Arabic. And, at the time, it wasn't as important for me to learn it as it is now. My Arabic's much better. But um, there were so many cousins and aunties and things I had, or people I had in my life that I couldn't communicate with. But when songs would come on, we would dance and know the music. And that's what really brought us together. So I just think like dance for me personally has brought me so much. Like communication, also community. Like Tamara said, a lot of my friends are here, and just empowerment in myself. And it's not about, I think conversations like these are important because it can't just be about the technique. I feel like that's stripping the culture from dance. It's really about the feeling behind it. So
Hi, I'm Jahan. I've been dancing most of my life. I was in studios at the age of like 3 all through high school, but it was a predominantly white space, and I'm half Iranian. Um, so there was a lot of like racism and just like things that happened in those studios that I didn't like. I didn't really look forward to going to dance that much. But I did always have fun at like the Persian parties that my parents would take me to. And there was just like dancing with your community and at parties, and it was low key and fun. And then I like, after like I've moved a lot around the country and like didn't really have like any Middle Eastern friends that live near me. And then when I moved to Colorado a year and a half ago, I saw that there were Persian dance classes. And so that was really, really important and healing for me. And I also met, many friends through that, which has been amazing. Um, and I recently started teaching contemporary dance and also performing with a contemporary dance company. So I've been like thinking more about like how to provide students like a better experience than what I had in those kind of like Western dance classes that I grew up in that I did not have a good experience in. But really, I think, dance is, I said this before, like one of the most human things that we can do. It's like something that's it's done across cultures for healing purposes, and it's a way to integrate our experiences into our bodies, which is really important for feeling more whole and moving on and understanding emotions and all of that.
Hi, I'm Jules A. Wow, just yeah, love everything everyone has to say. I'm just reflecting a lot more on just the feeling of dance. I feel like that's really I mentioned that I've taken like dance classes when I was younger, just a little bit here and there. Dance has always been a part of my life. Both my parents will dance for fun, and my mom danced professionally for a long time. So even that was part of growing up. But I feel like what was missing was really connecting to the culture, connecting to the roots. I felt like growing up, I definitely, and still now, like I struggle with perfectionism and just trying to unlearn that because I feel like that's just a big part of like deconstructing, I don't know, this like Western way of thinking, just deconstructing colonization, because it really is about connecting to like the deeper emotion. And I feel that when I started practicing Persian dance, I was really drawn to just the emotion that I felt like beyond myself. And I feel like just really tapping into that feeling and spaces that really emphasize that have been really important to me, because I feel like channeling that feeling helps tap into like this like magic, this like divine feminine, even like, if it's not just women, but like they're like connecting, we're just connecting in like a different type of energy. And I think it's really beautiful and special. And it can help move communities together and
make this space more powerful for positive change in the world. And so, yeah, just grateful for this space and grateful for everyone here.
Thank you, Jale. That was beautiful. My name is Sunaina Madhavdasi. I'm really excited to be here today. I've been taking samba and belly dance with Jules for a little bit, and I've been in and out of the Moyo space, I think, for about a year or so now. And it's been really beautiful to grow in this community. And for me, dance has been something that's been alive very much in my DNA and beyond for a really long time. My mom is a dancer. I grew up doing traditional Indian dance like Bharatanatyam, as well as, integrating yoga with everything. And for me, it's all about re-indigenizing dance and remembering that it's about storytelling and it's about telling your own story, your own kind of way that you show up in your body. And I also am a somatic dance teacher. I minored in dance. I feel like I've been dancing since probably many, many lifetimes previous to. I also do genuinely believe that dance is the highest form of worship to the divine. I think someone said that earlier, and that really resonated with me. And then, yeah, I'm also a mother. I'm a community member. I think that preserving dance, especially the traditions that come from cultures that are more oppressed or marginalized or suppressed because of how our society is, keeping those alive is really something that I'm passionate about. So, yeah, thank you, everyone. And I'm complete.
Hi everyone, I'm Demi. I've loved hearing all of your stories, and dance is it's so exciting and fascinating to me because it is as profoundly simple as like a beat and breath and body, but then it's also as complex as mental health support, as ancestral healing, as resistance against a white supremacist patriarchy, as reclamation of our bodies. It is, I'm fascinated, I'm excited to delve into dance deeper. It has already once profoundly changed my life, but I think it's still a space where I feel discomfort because I am still learning how to have sovereignty in my body, not just for me, but also my mother, my grandmother's grandmother, so many generations where I can feel in my DNA memory, right, what was taken from us, the ability to be free in our power, in our sensuality, in our beauty, in our culture, in our differences, and to hear all of you from all your various lineages and backgrounds and experience have a shared relationship with dance. It just feels like such a powerful place where we can really say, fuck the system.
I love that. Thank you. My name is Jasmine. For me, dance is a deep remembrance. I also feel that it's in my DNA, and more than that, that I was born with it, that I've been dancing for past lives. Um, yeah, it's just so beautiful to be able to connect with my body this way and go into the somatic healing of it, of feeling the different parts of my body where energy is stagnant and being intentional about releasing it, or even playing out what's in my head as a way to release that energy. It's been very beautiful. And one of my favorite things that Jules has said is that dance is a form of prayer to the divine. And I've really taken that to heart, and I'm really practicing that and growing in that new way of prayer. So I'm very grateful for this community and this space, the diversity in this space. It's been very wonderful to be a part of it.
All right. There is nothing left for me to say. I think you guys have summed it up so beautifully. My name is Bathsheba. I am the executive director here at Moyo Nguvu. It is my absolute pleasure and privilege to be able to hold space for this to happen. I am so deeply humbled by everyone's experiences and their stories, and I can't wait to see what the community that we create out of this experience, because we're bringing something positive, we're bringing something beautiful, we're bringing light in places where there's darkness and there's no expectation, right? So that perfectionism we can let go of. So I'm very, very thankful. Jules talks about there's no mirrors in the center right now. That was purposely done. We probably will have some, we'll talk about that later.
They'll be along background.
Yeah, yeah, we'll be able to turn them off. But it is about just simply being human, being present, being in the moment with each other, in a time where individualism has shifted so far to the extreme that our youth don't even know how to connect with each other anymore. So this space is sacred. All of you here are sacred beings, and I'm deeply humbled to be sitting and learning from you in this space. So thank you. Thank you for holding this space. Thank you for having this vision. And I'm just here to help facilitate that.
Thank you all so much for sharing your stories. It's such a pleasure to listen and to learn more about, even if I know you, maybe you shared something that I didn't know. So I really appreciate everyone's vulnerability and humility here. Um, yeah, this project is going to be so exciting. I'm already hearing so many different themes about like mental health and also prayer and the divinity of it all. And so we'll get into the conversation. I wasn't sure where we should go today, but I think I have a little bit of a gauge now. But I want Shiba to introduce Moyo the space and then give some gratitude for the people who are funding all of this and making this possible.
So thank you for making a little space for that. So Moyo has been in the community for 35, going on 36 years. So the culmination of everything that we're doing here will be part of our 36th anniversary. So I'm super excited to be celebrating this way with you. I started my journey with Moyo when I was 15, 16 years old, and have been part of it since that point in time. Moyo itself is a Kiswahili word that means heart or spirit. It actually means a lot more than that, but we don't have time to get into all the metaphysics of it. But heart and spirit is really the simple way. And then Nguvu means strength. So everything that we do is about strengthening our heart, strengthening our spirit so that we can deal with those things that are coming at us from other places. I'm in the process of revamping our mission statement. So the original mission is to aid in the establishment of justice and peace through the sharing of culture. But that is not what I've really been doing since I've been back in community. We've really been creating and holding spaces for people to connect, to find those meaningful connections. And culture is something that I believe is medicine. And I hold that very deeply. So my practice is the martial arts. Um, and I can tell you funny stories about drumming and music and dance, and just those journeys are, I'm finally being able to step into those roles, but it's taken a long time. But Moyo itself was the first place where I could be fully human, and not be judged, like not be black. You're not black enough. You're not white enough. You're not this. You're not native enough. You're not these things, where you're forced to choose a side or choose a persona in order to fit within society. So my first lesson in coming to Moyo when I was 15 in my pro-Black revolutionary phase, was that how can you be so pro-Black when I've met your mother and she's pretty white? Um, and I love my mom. She's the most amazing person. So she floated in and out of class today. Um, but he was right, right? So how can you be fully human if you don't embrace all of who you are? But there was no space in community to actually explore that identity, to figure out what that is. So Moyo was that first place. So instead of wearing kente cloth and my, Malcolm X t-shirt and proud to be a Black woman, this is where I calmed down and was able to just be human without the expectation of all these other things. And I could shape my own identity, and I had my own self determination. And so I really want to hold that space where it's okay, for us to explore the different aspects of ourselves and to learn from each other and integrate those things that work well for us and let go of those things that don't. So that's really what we've been experimenting with, trying. So this program has been generously funded. It's part of our Each One Teach One program. The best way to describe it is co-mentoring. I know nothing about social media and all these new fandangled things that have come out. It's just not my thing. So I rely on young people. I rely on young adults that do have these skills to teach me these things, and I can share with them the things that I'm really good at, which is administration, grant writing, and holding space, right? So we're learning from each other, we're co-mentoring, we're growing together, and ultimately this is going to spin off into I don't even know what, right? There'll be other things that come from this that'll be beautiful. And so that's what this is about. So our funders are the Colorado Health Foundation is amazing as a partner and as an organization. So they have given us the funding to hold this space for community and be able to offer these classes for free. The Eulipians Fund, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Eulipians Center that existed back in the 90s and early 2000s. When they closed, they created a fund specifically for the performing arts so that we have received funding as part of that. And we've also received funding from the Brick Foundation, which is Black Resilience in Colorado. I'm probably saying that all backwards, but the Brick Fund has also been a big supporter of the work that we're doing here. So I'm really grateful because oftentimes those cultural resources that are ours, they're our culture, they're, from, dancing in the kitchen and with our families and in community and celebrating womanhood, are things that we can't afford to take. $25 a class, $65 a class, 200 and something dollars for a weekend workshop. A lot of times it's out of the reach of the people whose culture it is. Like it's ours. We need to be able to access that. So I have to find the balance. But I think I'm very grateful to be able to hold that space for us to be and to experience our own culture and be together. So I'm going to stop talking because I can keep going. So I'm going to pass it back to Jules.
Thank you, Shiva. Yeah, none of us would be here without her and her hard work to make this all happen. So thank you so much. As we were all introducing ourselves, I was hearing a lot of themes of like, oh, someone having X amount of training or not having training. And I was really curious about where that even started or like how this line came to be, because how is it that cultures across the world, we all danced? So how did we get here? And what I discovered was some interesting ways that it was deemed criminal to dance. So specifically, we're in the US, and I think it's important to announce that because we are in a very interesting place culturally. I loved hearing everyone's different backgrounds, and I think that is really unique to the US. You might have diversity in other countries for sure, but I do think it's particularly potent here. And Colorado brings its own thing and lack. This might sound even more diverse if we were in New York or something, but loving all the diversity in the room here and the different cultural backgrounds and ways that our culture celebrates or use dance as rituals and ceremonies. And when the Native people were here, their rituals and ceremonies were part of everyday life, right? There's sun dances, and for birth, there's dances, and there's rain, there's dances. There was a dance for everything. It was every day. And I was watching a documentary last night, and it broke down the different ways that the style of hunting or creating food informed the movements within dance. So, for example, people who use spears in order to catch fish had this really linear movement. And within that, you see this kind of one-dimensional up and down kind of rocking motion, whereas you see in Africa where they were gardening, there's a more spiral movement, and you see that in the hips and the shoulders. And so I think someone mentioned earlier about how dance is so human. It is. I think to dance is just as human as it is to breathe oxygen, as it is to have hunger. And I loved learning the ways that those informed the different styles of dance. And then, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, you were able to be imprisoned if you were caught dancing. And so it's not by accident that now we have this stark line between, dance professionals and needing to pay a lot for it. And we see that all around the world in terms of like there was a caste system in terms of certain people were allowed to dance and others were not. And it was probably for the aristocracy and being able to perform. And that was where dance as a career was really created. And we see that kind of lasting rippled impact here. So I'd like to open the floor and just when we think about dance as a crime and we think about dance as prayer and we think about the themes of divinity within dance, what comes up for you? I mean, samba, the word comes from Yoruba, which means to pray, so directly influenced. Um, and I think it puts us in an interesting place now where maybe we aren't practicing strict cultural dances and we are maybe many generations or completely removed. Maybe some of us find ourselves doing a dance that we are not culturally directly connected to, but are interested in studying. And I think that's okay, with respect and honor to the lineage and a desire to learn. That is where a lot of cultural preservation comes from. I mean, Sheba and I were having a conversation yesterday because there's a discussion going on in belly dance right now. There was like a big Egyptian show, and someone got online and was very upset that it was like a Russian dancer that was performing. And she has a right to be frustrated with that, but the way that it was gone about, I think, could have been done a little differently. But it opened this big discussion in terms of like, okay, but what about the fact that maybe as an Egyptian in Egypt, it's not safe to dance as a woman, or it wasn't available, or you were going to be cast away by your family because it was too promiscuous or too sexual. And so maybe then we find that the people who are continuing certain cultures are not from that culture. And what does that mean, and what does that look like? Yeah, let's pass the mic to Alicia.
I see this through a hip hop perspective, right? Hip hop is, let's call it an indigenous to Merca. It was born in the Bronx, right? And after a while, right, it's spread around. Now we have a diaspora. We have a whole hip hop diaspora in a cultural sense. The Japanese b-boys are so ill, and b-girls, the b-people, and like other spin-offs of what hip hop dance is, right? Like the Korean b-boys are so silly with it, and like Red Bull has jams all the time. There's still jams. There's still places where b-boys are doing flares and windmills and stuff like that. And like hip hop got co-opted by the machine. Like straight up, they paid DJs to not do their jobs. They paid MCs to become rappers, to become puppets. You know, there's all kinds of crazy things happening around culture, and like why the rap sounds like party, diamonds, ice. You know, there's that. It's the state has definitely co-opted us, and we still live, right? Because like culture grows in my pockets. In the 90s and in the 2000s, there was space, but there wasn't space. You know, and like so it's a thing. Is all I'm trying to say.
Alicia, I'm so glad that you brought all that up because I needed to hear a lot of that. Um, well, just because, there is a global reach, right? Like there is a global impact when we're merging traditions, when we're merging cultures. And there are people who are appreciating, and then there are people who are appropriating. And is it easy or is it difficult to tell the difference between each one of those? And from my understanding, when you have an appreciation for a culture, for a tradition, for a lineage, you're looking to find more information and educate yourself about it. And from my understanding, when it becomes appropriation is when there's two things that happen. The first thing is that there's a power imbalance. Somebody has more power than the other person. Now, there's systemic power, and then there's also kind of like individual power of like social power, how light your skin is, how dark your skin is, how close you are to money or wealth, or, there are so many aspects. How many doors you're guarding, exactly. And so that's kind of the first aspect, is like, how is their power? Like even in the example that you were sharing about the belly dancer, right? Like where are the power dynamics, and can we name them, and can we kind of get to the like cause of why there was harm through the appropriation? And if it was appropriation, then the second part, which is that there has to be harm. Someone has to feel harmed, right? Like there is a person from the original culture that's saying, actually, the way that this is happening, it did harm me. I am upset by it. There is a power imbalance, and I'm being harmed. I personally feel affected because now I can't go out and I'm not given the space in my own country to belly dance, even though I want to. right? Like there probably is somebody in all of Egypt who would want to be on that stage, right? But it's not. It's a Russian lady. So, I see kind of both sides of it, and I think that the more we get clear on what those boundaries are and the more that we can name them. And I really enjoy, instead of this idea of calling people out, it's like, what does it look like to call people in? What does it look like when we're in a circle like this and we're having a conversation and somebody says, oh, actually, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, but here's what I think, right? And like doing so in a way where it can be respectable and mutual and also educational at the same time. Yeah.
So I won't talk too much about this because I'm not from this culture, but I'm going to come at it more from a social aspect and bachata. Okay, so because I do not train much, and I really don't. I like to go dancing it to be authentic. I don't like when somebody is just doing the next move, like "Blah, blah, 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 what I learn, and do it, do it, do it. And so I'm finding why is it so weird to want to dance authentic Dominican bachata out in the social scene? Why did we have to combine lyrical and contemporary? And said, girl, all the things. Why did we have to do it? Like, I don't see the people over there in the Dominican that cannot dance. They can definitely dance like that and they can jam it out. So are we afraid? Are we feeling some kind of way because they can just get down? That's all I'm going to say. But
Thank you. Well, I have some opinions about the belly dance topic that's been brought up. Do I think it's wrong for, you know, a Russian person to perform in Egypt to take belly dance? Absolutely not. There's been a lot of topic about, first of all, why is it even called belly dance? Why is every other culture, not every other, but, for a lot of us, we take Persian Iranian dance. It's called Persian Iranian. Um, Belly dance is a body part. It's just another way to erase the culture. And I think what's happened is with cultural exchange, um, a lot of Russians have taken to belly dance and they've changed it up a little bit, which again, I don't think is a problem, but they're not acknowledging the history. Um, and there's also been a certain body type that's associated with belly dance. And I think that's been promoted, and that's just another way to erase the culture. I've had someone tell me, well, Russians are the ones who made it good. Uh, Sorry, but no. And so I think there's a bit of frustration. And another thing that's been frustrating for a lot of us who are from like the Swana region, um, there's been a genocide going on. We all know this. And a lot of the people who take belly dance, perform belly dance, they're dancing to Arabic music and they're not speaking out about the suffering. So it just feels like another way that they're taking culture, or they're erasing the culture basically by not acknowledging and using their voices to spread awareness. A lot of these belly dancers have a big following and they are beautiful dancers. You could use your platform to educate people, to feel that other people are acknowledge you and how much it hurts that this is going on is really important. Even if you're not raising funds or out protesting, I think just the acknowledgement is something that's so important that people don't really talk about. And so I know for me, it's been really hurtful for people in my community who love to say yalla and, hayati and stuff, and then just remain silent for now 3 years of genocide. It's hurtful.
Well, this has been a really fascinating conversation. Thank you all so much for sharing your stories and your experience and your thoughts and your takes on things and your lessons and where you are personally. And thank you all for your time. And I'm so excited to see how this continues to develop. I think we really opened something exciting here. And yeah, we'll call this episode 1. So tune in for more. And May 16th is the Dance is a Birthright show. Maybe it'll have a different name then, but we'll see how that develops. Thank you, Shiva, for holding space, and to all of our funders who are making this possible, and to every one of you as community who chose to show up and spend your time here with us all today. So until next time.